You want my...
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Dixieland Dental, located 9 miles north of Dothan on Highway 231. Dr. Michael Precise, Dr. John Strength, Dr. Damon Strength, Dr. Robert Precise make up one of the largest dental clinics in Alabama. Appreciate them. Jason Youngblood is our guest, and of course, Jason watched him grow up, and
yes.
of course, I didn't realize you were such a dog lover, but hey, that dog was meant for you, man. Do you have dogs at home?
I do. I've got an 11-year-old healer
at
home, yeah. And those...
You're like Steve up there. He's, his healer.
I love the healers.
Just died not long ago. He was 17 years old.
Love the healers. They're a great breed, and those ladies are doing some fine work in Pike County, and I hope everybody supports them.
Yeah.
And especially donations and that kind of stuff. They need it to continue their operations.
Jason's running for sheriff of Pike County as a Republican. Is that right?
That's correct.
And of course, we're going to be talking more and more about him in just a few moments. But first of all, sort of tell us how you grew up and where you grew up and who your people were.
Well, of course I'm a Troy person. I grew up here. My dad's Tommy Youngblood, and my mother's parents divorced when I was younger, but my mother's in Montgomery, Pam, and I've been here, went to school here. Of course, I went to high school here and graduated from Charles Henderson in '93, and went on into the Army National Guard right after that. Been in there ever since. I'll have 20 years in November.
I remember when you were part of the big red thrashing machine.
That's right.
And of course,
was our center.
I was. That was a long time ago. I was.
I tell you what, son. Hey, now, I'll tell you one thing though. I'll tell you this: if you looked then like you look now, man, you'd been all.
I would have been. Oh man, I didn't get any size until I graduated high school and got in the Army and got a little meat on the bones. But yeah, I wish I had a little more size to me.
So have you been overseas with the Army, Jason?
I have not been overseas.
Grab that, Mike.
You can grab it. I got deployed back in 2003, and we actually went over to Fort Benning, and with the expectations of going to Iraq for 12 to 18 months, and we actually sat for 6 months until who is now the TAG, General Smith, came down and relieved us after almost 180 days. We were expected to be pretty much a second wave of troops going in because of the expected chemical that they were going to throw, and it just never happened, and they didn't need us, and they ended up sending us back home. So
yeah, I remember my friend, one of my best friends, John Reeves. I think the same thing happened to them. I don't know.
That's my unit. That's my unit.
Yeah,
that was my unit.
That. I was glad y'all didn't have to go.
Yes, you don't mind doing your job, but half of you is more than happy to stay home. It's family wise and everything else.
Well, let me just tell you this. I've known your family all my life because Hayden, your grandfather, and Fannie Lou.
My grandmother, yes.
Fannie Lou, I always loved that name, Fannie Lou.
Yes.
And she cut hair and all that. And
40-something years.
But lived right around the corner, and so I sort of grew up with your dad. And of course, the late, great Hayden Youngblood, ladies and gentlemen, who gave his life serving the people of the city of Troy as a policeman. And, of course, even now I get a little choked talking about it because he was so gallant and he gave his life.
Yes. He was, of course,
tell the story. I can tell it.
Well, Eugene Galt. Eugene
Would you
Galt.
like for me to tell it?
Well, you can if you know about it.
Well, I'll tell you what happened, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Hayden Youngblood was a well-known police officer in Troy at the time. I can remember Chief Bull, Curtis Bull, and I remember Shorty Sullivan.
Yes.
So there were some other guys on that police force, but a guy named Galt, who was an eye doctor from Prattville, robbed a bank in Ozark, shot the bank guy in Ozark.
Two of the tellers.
The teller in Ozark, and then got in his car and was going up through Louisville and shot the chief of police there in Louisville, and was off and running. And every law enforcement agency in the country, ladies and gentlemen, were racing toward this guy to try to catch this guy.
Yeah.
Well, he came to Troy, and he was on the Old Banks Highway, Highway 29, and he came up toward the where you turn right or left to go to Needmore, and there was a store there. And the store there was owned by,
I can't remember the owner. Still there today.
Yeah, he was a postmaster. oh gosh, Barry. But they owned a store there. And Galt, when he pulled in, Hayden Youngblood was coming up the road, coming toward him as he was coming up, like Galt was coming like you going to town.
Into town.
And he pulled in behind that store, hoping that the policeman would, who was your grandfather, Hayden Youngblood, would not see him.
Right.
Well, Hayden Youngblood pulls up in the front of the store and sees, knows where the guy is, runs in and to get a shotgun, see if there was a shotgun, and then Galt came back around and shot him
in the front of the store.
In the front of the store, and of course he killed your grandfather. It was Brantley. The Brantleys owned that store there. Barry Brantley's father owned that store there, and of course he shot and killed. Galt shot and killed Hayden Youngblood, and then took off toward Needmore, and they got him cornered in a cemetery, wasn't it?
Pleasant Hill Church back
Pleasant
there.
Hill Church,
cemetery.
where there was a big gun battle,
That's correct.
and I'm talking about almost 100 law enforcement agencies.
That's right.
Were on the scene, and you can go to that. And then finally, a man shot and killed.
Alabama
Galt.
State Trooper shot him and got him out from behind the tombstones there, and a big firefight ensued, and of course he was killed. But that was.
Then you walk out, and you can go to that funeral, that cemetery today, and see bullet marks all over the.
There's chunks of tombstones that are still missing today, never repaired.
But
that way.
So why was your granddad going in looking for a shotgun?
to protect the woman
He
in the
wanted
store.
to ask the people there. They knew that they were coming this way, and he wanted to
He knew
give
that-
them an opportunity.
But he
to protect
had a
themselves.
firearm.
Oh, sure,
yeah, sure.
Okay.
And Miss Brantley was there in the store, and he went in to protect her too.
What caused him to go off the deep end? A doctor?
I don't know.
He was an eye doctor, I think, or
chiropractor.
Yeah, no, chiropractor. That's what he was. He was a chiropractor.
I don't know. Nobody knows that. It's just a very unfortunate deal.
Of course, people in Ozark, I'm sure, that are watching today remember that that happened back in the '60s, and I was in
62.
in school, and I remember, gosh, all the people, even high school kids, were riding out there.
That's correct.
To the scene. I mean, it was like a circus, but it wasn't a circus.
It was just a
especially
big
in your
deal.
family, wasn't a circus.
No, it was just a big deal. Back then, people went to arms with that kind of incident to protect folks.
How many times over the years has somebody brought that to your attention?
Oh, wow. Especially anybody, especially 60 and older, was old enough to remember my grandfather that, working here in Troy, and remember him walking downtown, and I've just had so many people come to me and tell me stories that I love to hear. And
but I mean, he didn't have to do that, what he did. In fact, they told him to stay back.
They called him, and he said he was going to check out up there at the store and make sure the owners had some protection, because they expected Galt to be coming in from that area, and he, lo and behold, he ended up with him at the same time there. So it was
But
a mess.
and of course, a tremendous act of bravery, and he's been honored many, many times over the years. In fact, every year, of course, Watkins, I coached him.
That's right.
And, what a great, did you ever know him?
I didn't.
One of the best people in the world. And
So did that inspire you to get in law enforcement?
That was some of my major reason to get in law enforcement. It's just a family legacy for me. You know? I just, I guess it's just in your blood, so to speak, So.
Of course, you have been on the police force how long?
I've been here since '02, and with a couple of stints in military service. But I've actually been a police officer since '96, so 18 years this year.
Yeah, you're also in the Guard, is that right?
I am. I'm in the Guard.
Been there how many years?
20 years this November.
What is your rank now?
I'm a Sergeant First Class in the Guard, and like I say, I'll be upon retirement here in November, and I'll have to make a decision whether or not I want to stay or retire. So.
Exactly. What makes you want to be Sheriff of Pike County?
Well, it's just like I say, it's a family legacy for me, and it's my chance to be able to do something here in Pike County and affect some change here that I think is needed. And like you've got in front of you there's several issues that we came about during the process of making a decision about the campaign. And that's a lot of the issues that are going on, the underlying issues that are going on in this campaign that I think a lot of people don't know about. 70% of our voters are in the city of Troy, and a lot of the people in the city of Troy just don't know what exactly is going on in Pike County and how that affects them directly. And Russell Thomas has been a staple here in this community for 20 years now, and as sheriff, and they really don't know what's going on. So it's been my job during this campaign to try to get out some of these issues and kind of make people aware of what's going on and give them a chance to be more informed when they go to vote in November.
What are some of the things that Russell Thomas is not doing?
Well, one of the biggest issues that we have is there's a young man that's been on third shift now for around 12 years. And he's been by himself and working in that capacity, like I say, for over a decade now. And in this day and age, of course, to me, it's an officer safety issue, and it means it's very close to heart for me because of my grandfather as well. But he's been out there by himself, and
what you mean by himself now?
He is on patrol by himself every night for the third shift
have
hours.
One sheriff.
There's just one deputy for third shift hours unless something else happens.
And what is the third shift hour?
That would be 10:30 to 6:30 in the morning hours.
Yeah, I got you.
So
is this a situation when they're cutting back as far as they're forced, trying to save money by doing this, or what's the issue?
Honestly, I don't know what the issue is. I just know that it's been going on for years now, and in this day and time, and the amount of crime that we have in Pike County, it's just not. It's not only bad for the citizens that need a response from an officer, but it's bad for the officer because it's an officer safety issue for him as well.
So you say here provide 24-hour patrol service.
Right.
So how many more as a deputies, I guess?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Would you like to add for us at night?
Well, any administrator would love to have more officers than they have. But
they need at least two, probably.
They need two at night. They need at least two at night.
But everybody's on call, though, aren't they? Everybody's on call.
But when somebody's and this is the perfect storm that I use as a scenario. If a bad domestic situation happened, say south of Brundage, towards our end of our county line, and this deputy had to respond by himself at nighttime, not only is it an officer safety issue for him, but he may have to effect an arrest or something of that nature, and he's by himself. Now, our state troopers are out there, but they have to cover 9 counties in southeast Alabama, so the availability of them coming to help is slim to none sometimes. And given that same situation, if say a burglary in progress happened up in China Grove, waking a deputy up and him taking 30 to 45 minutes to get dressed and respond to a scene as a citizen, that's not a good thing. And that's a perfect storm, but it can happen. And it's been this way for a decade, and how we've avoided a catastrophe is just beyond me.
So how does the Troy Police Department, how would they work? How many guys do they have at night?
It just depends. We've got 10 or 12 assigned per shift, and given off days and leave days, we could have 6 to maybe 9 officers at any given time.
Do y'all ever respond to anything outside the county?
We can if we're requested. If that's not a problem with us. If we need to respond to something, but generally,
how far out is your police jurisdiction outside the city limits usually?
From every point of the city limits around Troy, there's a 3-mile jurisdiction that we handle. So there's a little bit of gray area, so to speak.
Y'all work closely with the sheriff's department? Is it pretty good, cohesive? I mean, they work well together? It's not
as cohesive as we like. The rank and file that I consider myself to be as a sergeant, we work well together. I think there's been a little bit of issues at the administrative level over the years for one reason or another. But we certainly have no problem on the street working the 2 patrols working with each other. It's not an issue. Yeah. We're more than happy to back each other up.
Of course, you say you want to wage war on illegal drugs.
Right.
Do we have a bad drug problem in Pike County?
We, like most of southeast, it's southeastern United States, period, we are inundated with methamphetamine production. And since it has gotten easier to make, they have what they call a shake and bake method now. That is what's referred to as a cold cook method that makes it where anybody can do it without a lab.
Yeah.
And
that's scary, isn't it?
It is scary. It's bad stuff.
In Birmingham, where I live, there's labs and cars as well, traveling labs.
Taking it from one place to another,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of what we're seeing. And you know, the arrests have just dwindled over the years, and you know, we are a part of a task force, a drug task force, with Coffee County as judicial district, in our judicial district here, and these guys are assigned to this task force to effect arrest and investigate crimes not only in Pike County but Coffee County if needed. It's a general understanding between the members of the task force and through the DA's office that they go back and forth between Coffee and Pike counties. And there has been for instance, I make reference to this in my flyer there. In 2013, the city of Troy produced between 100 and 155 cases, and Coffee County deputies, narcotics officers, did around 150 to 155 cases, and we had 6 in Pike County. And it's just at this day and time, I think we need to get back to law enforcement as far as illegal drugs, and it's just unfortunately it's gone south with us here in Pike County for a few years now, and I want to get back to that.
Yeah.
So,
of course, it's been a topic, the county jail and what kind of shape it's in, and of course it's one of the oldest jails in
yes, it is.
Alabama right now, and
It
of course back in the 50s, I think it was built back in the 50s.
57.
57, yeah, when the courthouse was built, and
That beautiful courthouse.
yeah. And right now, what is your opinion of the jail?
Well, the jail, of course, is in the top. I can't remember if it's the top 3 or the top 5. But the age of the jail is not so much the question. The age of the jail is not the issue. We can keep the jail clean. That's okay. People have put out that I want to raise taxes to build a new jail. And first of all, I can't build a new jail. I can't raise taxes myself. It has to be introduced as a bill to state legislature, and the people in Pike County have to vote on that. The sheriff doesn't have that kind of power to raise taxes. So the issue that I have with the jail currently is what's going on inside the jail, and that is the contraband that is rampant inside the jail. As you know, there's been in the newspaper here lately. We've had 4 capital murder suspects that have been at trial recently for 2 capital murders that occurred back in 2011. Those cases have just been taken care of, and everybody found guilty. But all 4 of those capital murder suspects had cell phones the entire time they were in Pike County Jail. I've got pictures at home of them updating.
You mean they're allowed to have cell phones?
No, they're not allowed to have cell phones. They just had cell phones. They are updating, taking what the young folks call selfies now, and updating their social media sites. And you know, that doesn't make people feel very safe that capital murder suspects can be in there having contact with family members and updating social media while they're in Pike County Jail.
Well, ideally, how long would these guys be in the Pike County Jail before they're transferred to a state prison? How long are they supposed to be?
You know, I don't know. That is, they're supposed to be transported, of course, by the state once they've been adjudicated and given state prison time. There's a certain amount of time that the county usually holds them until the state arranges transportation to come and get them, or either the county takes them to the state facility. I'm not really sure that aspect of how it works, because of course I've never been a deputy. So, but they will be housed there for some time until the state agrees to get them, or they're taken there.
As far as crystal meth, I know that's probably the biggest issue as far as drugs, but you also have the prescription drug trade that's
correct.
Pretty prevalent.
Right.
Well, you know, the older community and the younger community. Are y'all seeing more and more of that on the streets?
It's rampant. You know, today prescription pills today are 10 times what they were when I first started back in '96. It's just a more prevalent issue. We have a lot more of the older generation having their prescriptions stolen, you know, by family members or people that know them, or that kind of situation. We have prescription forgeries where people are trying to get Lortab, OxyContin. You know, it's a mess. And the younger generation now, the pills are just as prevalent as some of the other harder drugs.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
What would you do if you were sheriff? What would be some things you would do?
Well, the first thing you've got to do is get an adequate 24-hour coverage out there. You know, like I mentioned, the third shift guy that was by himself, well, on his off days, I believe were Sunday and Monday for years, there's been nobody on the street during his off day, so there's been nobody to cover that. So for
you know that for a fact?
Oh, I know it for a fact, yeah. 2 days a week, they were, there's been no coverage. Well, in May of this year, around the campaign time, Sheriff Thomas put another deputy on his off days to ensure that he had 24-hour coverage, and that still doesn't take care of the fact that they're out there by themselves during third shift hours. So one of the first priorities of mine is to double up the number of men on third shift, and ladies if one is hired, but to double that coverage. I've talked to several people that have waited an hour for response. I've talked to a gentleman the other day at the fair that's waited 2.5 hours for a response at nighttime, and that can only be related to the fact that he is by himself and answering other calls, and it's a shame.
Do all the sheriff deputies have a car?
They do, to my knowledge, they do.
So some of those, so some of them are actually on call, though. I mean, like, you know,
Well, they're all on call. Now, you know, the bad thing about this being on call is the fact that when you call and wake a man up at 3 o'clock in the morning, he's got to get up, get himself abreast of what's going on, the situation he's been called for, get dressed, get in his car, and respond to that location. And let me tell you something, when there's a man hanging halfway out of your window in your house, 30 or 45 minutes ain't going to do it. It's just not going to be. It's not going to be a good thing. So we don't mind going. Like I say, the Troy Police Department, if there's a situation where we're called, we can go. But that is not the general thing that happens. So
of course, you have a family. Of course, you've lived here in Troy all your life, pretty much, and of course, you like you said, your heritage speaks for itself, and of course, you've been on the Troy Police Force now 12 years.
With a couple of breaks for military service, but
Did you start at Troy University?
I did. I started with university.
I remember when I was in college. I think maybe you were working there.
I was in '96. I started there part time and started my career from there. Launched from there.
So you're running on the Republican ticket. Have you been a Republican? I guess your whole life.
Oh yeah, that's for me. That's just the way I was raised. I guess raised Republican with those Republican values, and that was an easy choice for me. So.
Of course, these signs are all over town now.
When is Election Day?
November 4th.
November the 4th.
November the 4th.
Of course, Jason is the Republican candidate for sheriff of Pike County, and of course, I've known you all your life, and I've watched you grow, and you know, you're very, you know, I know that you're a serious-minded person. I know that about you, and I know that you have a good record as a law enforcement officer, and
yes,
of course, you know, there's crime out there, and we need to protect our county.
Yes, we do. We do. This is no time for us to lack in service or anything else. And if there's ever been a time in our country and our state that we need to do something about illegal narcotics and be aggressive with it, it's now.
Now you're a graduate of the Southwest Alabama Police Academy, but also Los Medanos Police Academy in Pittsburgh, California. What was that?
I actually worked in California in the East San Francisco Bay Area for about 18 months. It was just an opportunity that I had to go to California back when I was much younger, and of course I jumped on it. You know, California's regardless of what people think, they really lead the nation in technology and as far as law enforcement things go, and I jumped at the chance to go and was lucky enough to be hired there and went to the academy, and another 6 months of academy on top of the one I already had, but it was a great experience. And it's just you know, when your family's as small as mine, being 2,500 miles away from mom and dad is just too far. I just couldn't do it. And I decided to come back home, and I was lucky enough that Mayor Lunsford at the time and Chief Anthony Everidge had a slot for me and hired me when I got back home. I was great to be back home.
What was the culture like out in San Francisco compared to what you would deal with in small town?
It's
Troy,
very different.
Alabama, and Pike County.
It's very different, but I tell you, policing is the same everywhere you go. The calls are the same. It's just the people that are different. You know, we deal with the same crime no matter where we are in the country. It's the quantity of the crime that you deal with and the difference in people. You know, we have certain ethnicities that we have in the South, and then in out west you have even more ethnicities because there's so many people that come in from other countries into that state. So you have to be more aware of cultural differences, how to deal with different people. you know, what might be offensive to some cultures and what might not be. But very, very vast difference.
Of course, in Birmingham, where I live, you're dealing with so many Spanish speaking people.
Right.
And that's kind of changed the culture of the state of Alabama, and I'm sure Troy starting to experience more and more of that as well. And of course, you have to deal with crime. Do you think it's important to have guys that can speak Spanish?
It's nice.
Y'all have to call in an interpreter.
We have interpreters available to us, and it's just good.
Hey, listen, wake up. I want you to come down here and tell us what this guy's telling us.
we have I can speak some conversational Spanish, and we have some other officers that are good with conversational Spanish. But we have I have a card that I can go by that I can read in Spanish and get responses. But generally, if it's bad enough, we want somebody to understand what's going on, and we have interpreters available, 24 hours a day that we can call for several languages. Because as you know, the university, we have a large population of Asian students that are over there now, and some of them, quite frankly, aren't very fluent in English, so we have to have interpreters.
Well, what's unfortunate in that situation, especially in the Birmingham area, they take advantage of these Spanish-speaking people.
Sometimes they are victimized, yes.
Victimize them, rob them still, and then they feel like they can't, respond to law enforcement because they don't have a voice.
Yeah.
Right.
So that is what you're dealing with a lot, unfortunately, right now.
Well, I tell you, we appreciate you coming on our show, and of course, the election date is November the 4th, and of course, I know. What would you say right now to the people of Pike County?
Well, the big thing is that people need to understand is this is not a popularity contest. I had a gentleman stop me in a ball game here a while back. Maybe you maybe think of this. I was handing out my cards, and the gentleman said, "You're running against a good man," and I said, "No, I'm running against a great man."
Yeah.
And I caught his attention, and I actually walked back over to him and talked to him. Anybody that dedicates their life to 30 years of service, public service, is a great person. But this election is not about being a good person or a bad person. It's not a popularity contest. It's about the issues. It's about what has our current sheriff done in the last 20 years with his job. And that's what I want people to investigate and learn about. And it's not that, well, he's a good old boy, I've known him for 20 years, he's been doing this job. There are issues underlying in this campaign that people need to know about.
Well, we appreciate you coming on our show.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much.
With Jason Youngblood running as a Republican for sheriff of Pike County. And, of course, again, I'm sure, Jason, if you would like to talk to Jason privately.
Sure.
Your number?
My campaign number is 268-0046. And I have a link on my website, youngbloodforsheriff.com. Anybody can go to my website and click on the Contact Me link, and it goes straight to my cell phone. So feel free to go to my website with any questions. It's been a great tool during this campaign, especially for people out in the county that want to hear have their voice heard about certain issues. So.
Okay, thank you again for coming on our show.
So much.
We'll be back with more of Today in L.A. right after this.